This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we are back with another episode of Jabberjaw, the show about a great white shark and some teenagers who live under the sea with him, not mermaids, normal humans, in the year 2076, who play in a band, solve crimes, get into shenanigans.
Supervillains.
Yeah, fight supervillains.
Yeah.
Maybe our supervillains, maybe our aliens. We don't know.
Maybe our aliens, aliens.
We're uncovering them as we go.
There's a lot of speculation.
Oh, yes, and more I assume will come throughout this arc. And today, Alexis is telling us another episode of this truly incomprehensible show.
It is truly incomprehensible. That's a good word for it.
Yes, and love. So I'm gonna pass it to you.
We do love it. Thank you. All right, now we're warmed up. Everyone's warmed up for what we're about to get into today because, like you said, no, we're not, because yes, it's incomprehensible. You can never truly be ready to decipher something like this.
Yes.
So, I guess we'll go ahead. We'll jump right in. This is episode 4. Well, yeah, I guess. Are you guys ready?
I mean, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, exactly. So this is episode 4. It's called Run, Jabber, Run.
Okay.
And it really plays off of something that we actually are getting ready to experience in only a few months, or I guess 5-6 months from now. Something global, something that happens every 4 years, every 4 summers. We get to watch the Summer Olympics.
Oh, no.
Yes, I know.
I was excited for us as humans for a second, and then remembered you were bringing this into Jabberjaw. So,
AKA Jabberjaw goes to the 2076 underwater Summer Olympic Games being held in, gotta laugh and give it to the writers for this one, Australia. Which is also funny because we were just talking about Australia.
Do they say it with an Australian accent every time they say it?
They have to, kind of.
Hell yeah.
It's Australia.
Right, otherwise it's
Australia. Yeah, no.
That's actually a great way to practice your Australian accent. Australia.
It is. Yeah,
wow.
It actually sounds more Australian saying it that way than.
Yeah, okay.
And so at first I couldn't really tell what they were saying. I was like, huh? What? Oh yeah, Australia. Good job, writers. That was clever. So, yes. Anyway, before we see the Neptunes and Jabberjaw in Australia, we are introduced to our baddies today. We've got actually just again straight up supervillains that these kids randomly wind up fighting all the time. These aren't everyday criminals. They're not bank robbers. They're not, jewel thieves. They're straight up supervillains who are seeking world domination. And today's villains are no less. We've got Dr. Chemo. Again, a name that I was like, what? Did I hear that right?
That sounds like actually a hero.
Actually, you're right. It does. Yeah.
But okay.
Are we supposed to like Dr. Chemo or do we hate Dr. Chemo? I don't know. It's just weird. And also, I mean, is it spelled that way? Because I typed it out as CHEMO, but I don't know. Maybe, who knows? So anyway, this guy, he literally looks like, I don't know if you ever read A Series of Unfortunate Events, but he looks like Count Olaf.
Oh my God.
With the hair sticking up on the sides,
the bald on top, and
super
skinny,
bald in the middle. Yeah, long jaw, long big nose.
Okay.
So he is kind of the brains behind this operation, right? He's obviously a doctor, and he's a scientist. He's building and finishing the final touches on what he considers the Adonis of cyborgs and robots, who they don't really give a name in this episode. So we're just gonna call him Robot Man. Um,
Great.
because for other reasons, there are other things I can't call him for reasons later in the episode. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Okay, I trust
So
you.
thank you. So Dr. Chemo, he's finishing Robot Man, and
Mhm.
he's telling his companion, Dr. Chemo's companion, Maximus, that he wants to
Okay.
do a demonstration of Robot Man to show how he is the strongest man essentially in the world and how he's fully capable of winning the upcoming 2076 underwater Summer Olympic Games in Australia.
I already have a question.
Go ahead, please ask it. There's going to be many
We've
more, I already know.
we've asked probably every episode, like the ultimate goal of every villain is to take over this
Mhm.
undersea civilization, right? Is that
Yeah.
also his goal?
Yes, ultimately it is. The Olympics, this whole Olympic plot is
Uh-huh.
just kind of like step B or maybe D in like a 12-step plan.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Great.
So we'll
Okay,
we'll
that's
see.
it.
Yeah.
That
There
answers my
is more
question.
to this plot. Yeah, okay, cool. So before we go on though, let me describe Maximus as well too, because this is another just ridiculous looking character. He kind of looks like an ancient, like, I don't know, Greek philosopher. Like he's wearing a purple toga and it's like a little portly, and he's bald on the top. It has like white hair on the sides that's like swooping up. I don't
That's
know. It's
incredible. I mean,
weird, but he also has like a Mediterranean, like thick accent, like maybe Greek or something like that. I don't
right,
know.
which I
It's
guess
weird.
would make
He's
sense.
super evil. Yeah, he's super evil, and
Olympics.
he's the leader of this criminal organization. And yes, exactly, the Olympics,
Yep.
I guess.
Greece. I don't know where they got is Chemo a Greek emperor, a Roman emperor from long
To my
ago?
knowledge, no, but maybe these writers know something we don't. They
They're
probably
certainly
do.
doing something we don't understand. So,
This is true. This is
uh-huh.
true. And there's gotta be, I want to believe that there's a reason behind it, right? Like,
Good for you.
give me give me hope. I'm being naive. The show is
I love
making me
that
feel
for
like a
you.
naive little child. Thank you. So anyways, before this demonstration starts, Maximus says that yes, Dr. Chemo, this robot does need to be the strongest robot ever, pretty much, because the robot needs to win a particular competition in the Summer Olympic Games so that he will then be able to deliver a top secret, highly sensitive microfilm to the corrupt Mr. Z, who essentially is this criminal underlord who moonlights as a medal distributor at the Olympics because Mr. Z
Mm.
will know who to get the microfilm from because they will be the winner of the specific competition in the
Mm.
Olympics. This
Hmm.
sounds like it cannot fail, right? This
Um,
cannot fail.
have you
Genius.
have you ever seen the documentary Icarus about the
No.
Russian Olympic doping scandal?
No. Ooh,
The
but I need to watch it.
the TLDR real quick is that this documentary filmmaker who's super into cycling was like, oh, after Lance Armstrong, like I want to figure out like what cycling in like the doping world and cycling, like what that overlap is. And so he needs to
Mhm.
find a doctor to like help him dope basically, and no one in the US will do it. And so he finds like this like leader of like the Russian Olympic Committee who is like, hey, can you get me out of the country? We've been doping all of our Olympians for a really long time, and I'll tell you everything about it if you help me escape
Oh,
Russia. And it's fucking
oh,
wild, but like the like intricacies of it that they break down and like how they are able to get away with it is like as stupidly complicated as the plot you just told me is. Of like
and
pee in a cup, put it in a refrigerator, but behind the refrigerator is another refrigerator. And like then you switch them in the refrigerator and then you close the fake refrigerator. And like that
oh,
level of like when you say it out loud, it sounds so stupid, but it
it
worked.
does.
So like,
That I was gonna say that's
I don't
well,
know.
I don't want to give away. Icarus sounds great. I don't want to give away the plot to this
Yeah,
thrilling,
don't. But I'm
equally
just
as
saying.
thrilling episode. No, me as giving away the plot of this thrilling episode of Jabberjaw.
Well, mainly
Like,
I'm just like,
kind of
that plan
compares.
sounds stupid, but there's been stupid plans in the Olympics that have worked.
That
So,
have worked. This is true.
so I'm
This
not
is true.
discounting this plot yet, is what I'm saying.
Got you. Okay. All right. Fair. Good.
I believe in
Good
it.
for you. No,
Love that journey
that's
for
good.
you.
Love that journey for you. Yes. But we'll see. Well, we'll see. Maybe some of it works, maybe some of it doesn't. Anyways, so not Maximus, sorry, Dr. Chemo, he runs this demonstration where essentially this robot dude who, again, it's just a robot that looks like a dude, but he's wearing like a blue, the same suits that like everyone else wears.
Oh yeah.
So like while Maximus and Dr. Chemo are wearing like cloaks and togas, this robot dude's wearing just like a regular kind of
He's got to
outfit.
blend in.
Anyways, this is true. This is true. Except for he does have metal skin, which is like obvious. He's like silver.
Oh, when he said
but he's wearing just regular clothes.
Oh, so he's like just a full-on metal like square robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm trying to there are a lot of Marvel and like DC characters like comic book characters I can think of, but I'm trying to think of someone who like I don't know. I mean, like he honestly, I guess, like yeah, he looks like Iron Man, but like straight up silver. Like, like I'm sure you can imagine a picture of Iron Man. Yeah, but he's just like all silver. But like he kind of, I think they made like the top of his head black to look like he had hair. Maybe I don't know.
All right, great.
But it's like
not
metal.
important.
No, it's like, but he, like you said, he's supposed to fit in, but like they almost got there. Almost. It's like Maximus and Dr. Chemo aren't from Earth or something. So they're like, yeah, this is what Earthlings look like, right? Sure, probably.
Put clothes on them.
Yeah, done. Anyways, so Dr. Chemo, he runs this demonstration where essentially this robot man is just like lifting a very like 1,000 pounds or something. And they're like, all right, perfect. He's gonna win. We're set. And they like all load up in the car and leave the lab.
Okay.
And so as they're driving there or driving out away from the lab, I guess they're taking this robot man to his hotel room or something at the Olympic Village where they're they put him up in a room. I don't know. It's almost like they're a team, like they're the coaches and he's the athlete.
Oh,
and they're like, all right, we got to get there in time. Let's go. We've been training.
Cool.
And so in the car, Maximus is explaining that the microfilm, it contains the names of and identifies all of the agents in their worldwide criminal organization. And he asks Robot Man to repeat and confirm his mission. And so this is when we get a few more steps of the plan.
Okay.
So we'll get your judgment again. We'll get your judgment again afterwards, okay?
Okay.
So Robot Man says that first, he will enter in the underwater obstacle race. Second, he will win. He must and will win the race. And Maximus is like, yes, no other human is physically capable of beating you. So this is true. You will win. Okay. And then he says, third, I will then be able to make contact with Mr. Z because he'll know that I am the agent since I won the race. And
not because you're a robot?
He said, not because you're
okay, cool.
Put a pin, short pin in that. And so then he says, lastly, he will then deliver the microfilm to Mr. Z and only Mr. Z, no one else.
Okay.
And at this point, this is where I said exactly what you just said, Grace. I was like, dude, you're a fucking robot. Like, I don't think you need to win the race for him to be able to spot you. And also, like, why did you have to do this at the Olympics? I think Mr. Z legitimately does work. Put a pin in that too, by the way. But like, I feel like Mr. Z actually does is like his 9 to 5 work for the Olympics or something. And he's like, yeah, man, I couldn't get off work. This is the only time I can. This is the only time I can get you. Or we can make this exchange for the microfilm.
Is when the entire world is watching.
Exactly.
He's like, and after work, I gotta go pick up my kids. You can't come to the school to do that.
Yeah, at this event that I imagine has a lot of security as well.
Yeah.
Like, maybe. So, meanwhile, Jabberjaw, though, gonna go back to our heroes here. Yes, the stars of the show, after all. Mm-hmm. So Jabberjaw and the Neptunes, they are making their way towards, you guessed it, Australia, the host underwater nation
Yeah.
of the Summer Olympics. And
Uh-huh.
as it turns out, actually, thumbs up for Biff, he has booked the group a show at the Olympic Village, I guess like
Oh,
the night before the games begin, or like after the opening ceremony
yeah.
or
So I was
something,
gonna
like the
say
day
not
they
the
begin.
opening ceremony, the after party of the opening ceremony.
I think so. Which I
All
mean,
right, that's a
it's
good
still
gig.
kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the four humans, they actually get off of this like sea bus or whatever the hell they take to get from city to city. And they go to get Jabberjaw from luggage because they had to actually put him
Oh,
this 15-foot
no
great white
respect.
shark. No respect at all. And it's funny because in the very first episode, we talked about how Jabberjaw is essentially like ooze and can like morph into
Uh-huh.
different shapes or whatever and kind of like fit into different containers. In this instance, they literally just put him in a suitcase that is like the size of him.
Okay.
It like has a handle on it, but it's the size of him,
Are they,
except there's a hole in it for his
okay.
head and for his tail fin.
So just his torso is
So just to
his
sort of like his
middle.
body. But I mean, that's still like what, like 12 feet of shark? It's like in a suitcase.
Have you
And
seen the
like,
memes where it's like the New York subway and dogs aren't allowed unless they're in a bag? And so people cut like IKEA
yeah.
bags and the dogs are like a full ass like Doberman Pinscher, but like just hanging out of a huge bag.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They
That's
were the
literally what they
OGs of
did.
that.
But also, isn't part of putting him in luggage and in a suitcase to like hide him? So like
Oh.
the fact that his head and tail is like hanging out,
And
he's
like
not hidden at all.
the people loading the luggage are like, why is this 4,000 pounds?
But
How are
like
they loading
they see
it?
like the tail like flapping and stuff, and then they turn it around and it's a fucking
The
shark
head.
who's pissed off at being in this small ass suitcase. Small for him.
Yeah. Wow, good
Yeah,
choice.
no, and he like still would be fully capable of eating something because like his
Oh,
head is
yes.
out. So he's
Yeah, you
like very
gotta have
dangerous.
snacks always. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, they didn't pack snacks for him because the people loading the
Were
bus were
his
the snacks.
snacks. That's why they didn't have to hide it because they were like, see what happens. You want to make us hide this shark? I don't think so.
I don't
And
think
baggage claim
so.
was like, okay,
Go ahead,
sorry.
try it. Go ahead.
See what
So,
happens.
anyways, so yes, they get Jabberjaw from luggage or from under under the sea bus. He's obviously pissed. He's like, man,
Yeah.
hopefully in the future we have enough money to be able to buy me a seat actually, in coach or whatever.
Uh,
Again, alluding that they're short on cash. Things are
always.
getting tough. They're desperate. This gig has got to go well. Everything's got to go right.
Uh-huh.
So they grab their rental car or rental sea car, aqua car, whatever the hell they call
Mhm.
them in the show. And then they make their way towards their hotel in the Olympic Village. And once they get there, they get out of the car and they're all asking around, like, wait, so which one of us brought the reservations with us? Like, I think Biff asks Shelly and Shelly asks Bubbles, which should have
We know
never
it's
done
not
that.
her.
And Bubble, yeah, we know. Because she's like, oh yeah, no, I gave him to Jabberjaw. And Jabberjaw's like, oh, I don't have him either because I lost them.
Okay, so this
So
was an
at least
actual
he
chain of
admits.
command. Yeah.
Yes. At least he admits to me now. No, someone
Okay,
did
great.
fuck up, aka he fucked up. So then Shelly bullies him into going
Mhm.
into town and asking someone for help with either getting like a duplicate reservation or finding out how to get into the hotel at least.
Mhm.
In my opinion, this seems like a bad idea on all fronts. Because here's the thing about Jabberjaw. He's a great white shark living in a shark.
May we remind you, a 15-foot
Really
one, no less.
great white shark. I cannot stress this enough throughout these episodes. A great white shark living in a shark phobic world. And of course, the very first person that he runs into and asks for help on the random streets outside of this Olympic village is just some poor old lady who's like trying to cross the street. She like is like making her way and then trying to cross the street, and he stops her. Like, to be fair to him, he is kind. He gently taps on her shoulder and just asks, like, like kind of soft boy, like, ma'am, do you know who can help with
He knows
reservations
what
to the
he
Olympic
is.
Village?
He's got to
Exactly. He knows.
soften.
So he's like, I gotta be as kind and polite as possible. It doesn't fucking matter. He's a great white shark. He's massive. She's a little old lady. She immediately screams and freaks the fuck out and screams, like runs up to security because obviously they've got security all over the place. It's the Olympics. And he's like, oh my God, yes. Like, he calls a robot over, the, what do they call them? Like shark ejector or security robots, sorry, a robot over. And like, yeah, that chases Jabberjaw out of the fucking out of the village, or like out of the city. Yep. So I was like, why would you send the giant great white shark to do something in this like highly secure
place that is always anti-shark in every city?
Yes, exactly. So but let me say this though, before Jabber is thrown out, he has a bit of a collision, we'll say, as soon as he turns around and starts to run away from the security guard and the robot who's chasing after him. He like makes a sharp turn around the corner and happens to run directly into Robot Man, for lack of a better name, who had just been kindly dropped off by Dr. Chemo and Maximus and was told to go check into the hotel as well. So not only does this collision cause Robot Man's face to like pop off his metal face because he's a fucking robot.
Good thing it wasn't too realistic.
No, oh God, that'd be terrifying. But it also causes the microfilm to like fall out of his pocket storage compartment, I guess, whatever, and like onto the sidewalk.
Wow, incredibly insecure.
Yeah, like they did not put it in any sort of like real compartment at all.
Like secret compartment.
Go and I mean,
pocket.
And clearly he's made pretty like janky. Like Dr. Chemo maybe isn't living up to the hype of like being a good scientist here or like a good engineer. But like anyway, so Jabberjaw sees this, he's like, oh my God, your face just fell off. What the hell? And like all these circuits and everything behind him, like behind his skin, quote unquote. But the Robot Man, I think, is kind of maybe like embarrassed by this because he just like pops the face back on, gets up and kind of like runs away. But Jabber has the microfilm. He sees it and picks it up. He's like, hey dude, like you tried to you dropped this. He tries to get the Robot Man to come back to give it to him because like he doesn't know this guy is like rolling with evil villains. At this point, he just thinks he accidentally embarrassed this kind robot who he happened to knock the face off of, literally. While walking down the street. But right before the Robot Man like can get back to Jabber, because he turns around like, oh shit, you're right, thank you, my microfilm,
one job.
Oops, should have checked for that. But before he can get back to Jabber, the damn shark ejector robot, the security robot, scoops him up, tosses him out of the freaking Olympic Village and like just on the street, and then goes back in. And the Neptunes see this. The rest of the gang sees this. And so they run out behind him to go help Jabber. But hilariously, Shelly, before asking if he's okay and like, oh my God, what happened? She's like, did you get the reservation duplicates? I need to sit down. Job? We need to check into our hotel room. I need to put my tambourine into a shaded area.
It's getting too hot out here. Also, it's funny that like I understand that the writers were doing this in 1976, but obviously they had a lot of forward thinking. I have never printed out a hotel reservation. I show up and I say, here's my name and here's my credit card. Find me. And they go, great, we have it on our computer.
Great, here you are. Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to think, even like back in the day. Because remember when we used to print out like MapQuest directions?
Right, exactly. Which is why I was like, maybe That's why I said I never
No.
have. My parents, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, because they had their own internal. Yeah, true, true. That's yeah. I guess I'm trying to think like for my parents, like did
Yeah,
they
like
print
when
out
we were
reservations?
kids.
I wasn't fucking paying
Yeah,
attention to
I
them
was
checking into the hotel
sprinting
room.
around
The
those
hell?
hotels and being a
Yeah,
menace.
literally. I was like risking us getting kicked out of the hotel when they were getting us checked in.
Just like
Um,
Jabberjaw.
exactly. Yeah, they couldn't even get checked in. Um, yeah, that's a good point, though. They were forward thinking. I don't really know what they say. Yeah, I guess they call them like duplicates. Or like, did anyone bring duplicates of the reservations? Or like Jabberjaw, go find a duplicate. So yeah, maybe
Yeah,
they
who
do mean
knows?
duplicate prints. I don't know.
Who
Maybe
knows?
maybe it, like scans you or something. Like I need
Yeah,
duplicate chip, my reservation chip. I don't know.
yeah, who
Um,
knows?
so yeah, Jabberjaw though, after the gang catches back up with him and Shelly is obviously rude to him, he
Mhm.
shows the gang the microfilm. And Biff, of course, is immediately like, "Oh my God, we need to call the police and report this." Like
What?
he's like, "Yeah, let's check into the hotel and then call the police to report this microfilm." What
Is
the fuck,
microfilm
Biff?
illegal in this world?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know. I guess he's just like, wow, someone lost something. We need to call the cops so that they know where to find it.
So they
I
get the
guess, but
reward
like,
money because they're tight on cash. There's no other reason Biff would call the cops and interact with them.
so fucking good of a point. Such a good point. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, in that day and age, they're like, whoa, microfilm, like this person's got to have some money, or like this is obviously important information. Like he'll
Yes,
just carry this
artifacts.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. $50,000, please, for the return. Like, which back
Yeah.
then was probably a lot more, but still.
Right. They were just assuming that there is indeed a reward out, probably pretty
Hmm.
quick.
Such a good point because really this whole episode I'm just like mentally shitting on Biff. Like, what the fuck did like get I don't want to hear from you. Your first suggestion after finding a lost item was, oh my God, call the cops. Like,
Yeah. And we know
fuck out of
Biff
here. But that's
does
a very
not
good point.
call the authorities, but I think he's like, all right, there's a high chance that this gig doesn't work out. We need some cash.
Knowing our track record, something
Yeah.
is going to
He's
interrupt
gonna
this
send
gig.
someone else in to the station to drop it off.
Yes. Yes. Not Jabberjaw this time.
No, 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 no.
And actually, and that is a very good segue because eventually they are able to get checked into their hotel room, but rather than actually going to the police station, they instead, like, they have a video chat with them. I guess that's probably their favorite way of communicating. I guess the writers of the show weren't too far off. Like, actually,
Yeah,
we'll be beyond
FaceTime.
video chatting in 50 years now. This is like
Yeah. We'll
this is the
VR
norm now. We'll be
ourselves.
past it.
Yeah, into
Exactly.
the
All right, everyone,
station.
put on your goggles. Um, but anyway, so they video chatted with this police inspector who introduces himself as Inspector Neville and who essentially just looks like Joseph Stalin, but also has a very bad Australian accent. Like I'm so serious. As soon as I saw him, I was like, why is Joseph Stalin the model here for these animators? Interesting choice, but okay.
There was one animator who was like a history major and it didn't work out. So he was like, Maximus. We're gonna draw this one like Stalin. He was like, I'm gonna prove my
Yes,
parents wrong. This was worth my
exactly.
degree.
See, mom, dad, see, don't you get these references? You're like, what? This is a show about a talking shark.
This show makes no sense. We're not proud of you.
I don't
I'm
care
proud
how
of
hard
him.
you try.
I'm proud of this animator and his history
Yes,
degree.
me too. Me too. It is amusing. I'm like, I don't know what the inspiration was. Well, I do, but I don't know what this
Why?
person's background was, why he went with the characters he went with, but he did. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm
Commitment.
enjoying it.
You know what? Good for
So,
him.
anyways, yeah, good for him. Yeah. So, love that for him. So, who I also assume is a him. We're just here assuming a lot of stuff, but like, yeah, 1970s
Whatever.
animation. Love that
Yeah.
for him. So, anyways, this Inspector Neville, he interestingly is already like kind of aware of the Neptunes. It's funny because he says that he already knows about the microfilm and how their pet shark found it. But they're like,
Oh.
wait, you know about us? What's going on? And he says that it's because him and his whole department have been keeping tabs on Dr. Chemo and Maximus for months now. But I think he's actually a raging fan of the Neptunes and their music, and is perhaps using it as an opportunity to like get an autograph and maybe a picture for his daughter or something.
We, in this documentary that we think is being made about this dissolving band, we cut to him as a talking head going through all of his Neptune memorabilia.
He's in like a room full of it, like a record holder, world record. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I've been their biggest fan for the longest time. So this choice, totally coincidental meeting, wink, 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 was, a pretty big deal for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I didn't pull any strings at all to get them that gig at the Olympic Village.
Yeah, I didn't know that this robot man was totally working with Dr. Chemo, so I had my robot shark ejectors run directly at him, pushing Jabberjaw into the path of the robot man so he could take the microfilm because I knew you would come in and then introduce yourselves to me. I mean, thank you for your service to this country.
Thank you. We appreciate it so much. So, yes, this police inspector who has been keeping tabs on Dr. Chemo and Maximus, which also it's funny because when he talks about them with the Neptunes and Jabberjaw, like they don't know who that is. They've not been introduced to these two villains before. So then he's like, "Oh yeah, my bad. This guy has a really bad Australian accent too." I will say. He's like, "Here, their photos," and he like puts their
also
up on the screen. Yeah.
He clearly is a fanboy because he's like, yeah, let me just disclose this like information about this terrorist sect trying to infiltrate this worldwide event to these teenagers and a shark.
Like they don't, at no point do the teenagers make it seem like they know what's on the microfilm. Like he didn't have to tell them what is on. Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, yo, we found this. Can we give it back to can we give it to you?
Can we get the reward?
And he's like, yeah. Jabberjaw found that. Anyway, so it has the names of like thousands of secret agents for this criminal organization.
He's telling them all this so the Neptunes hang out more with him.
You need our protection, right? So, and that is a good point. Because I will say it's maybe actually a good thing that he is telling them this, because next, after showing them pictures of who Dr. Chemo and Maximus are and explaining how dangerous they are and what their goals are, he then explains like, yeah, so by the way, you guys are like moving targets now since you have this microfilm. So he is also telling them like how much danger they're in, which is good because I mean, I guess I would want to be warned of that,
Yeah, for sure.
And then, like he said, as a side, they're going to want more police protection. So he's like running to go to their hotel. It's like, I'm already here.
Yeah. I have your duplicate reservation. No reason.
I have both of your reservations.
I saw where Jabberjaw dropped them. I mean,
they were brought into the department after he dropped them.
Someone was also returning. You know what? I'm here.
I'm here. It doesn't matter. I'm here now. Isn't that what we all want?
After all, we've asked for.
Yeah. Oh man. So at this point, Biff is like, okay, well, we're going to bring the microfilm over to you immediately.
I forgot this is all on video. Okay.
Yes, it is. It's a video chat. But the inspector actually stops him. He's like, well, hold on. No. Again, like I said before, you guys are pretty much moving targets. So you need to like stay put.
Not subtle targets, because there's a 15-foot great white shark with them.
Precisely.
The humans, so maybe you can blend in.
You guys are fine. Maybe. No. And there's no way you're going to leave Jabberjaw behind. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he tells them to just wait until midnight, and then they will meet him at Pier 21, whatever that means, and they can turn over the microfilm. So in the meantime, the inspector advises the gang to just hide the microfilm in a very safe location and stay put. And Clamhead's like, I'm one step ahead of you, dude, already on it. I hid the microfilm in a bottle of ketchup
Um,
in the fridge.
um,
And Inspector Neville is like, okay, good, and then hangs up.
okay, good.
Why the fuck would you hide something this important? I guess maybe to their credit, they didn't know what it was before they hid it, but why would you
Is
hide
it
something that has to be given to someone else? And first of all,
is
you
it an
just checked
empty
into this
bottle?
hotel. You just checked into this hotel and you already have a bottle of ketchup in the fridge.
You know, Clamhead is like bringing snacks with him everywhere. He is the
True,
Shaggy.
true.
I will
He
say
is.
this is what Clamhead is bringing is
True. He doesn't bring
condiments for
clothes
snacks.
or his bass
Yeah,
guitar, but he brings a bunch of food.
correct.
Um,
Yep.
And so, yes, that's my first question. And my second is, yeah, why would you put something that's important, something that has
Yeah.
to be returned to someone, whether before you know what it is, you're still like, oh, I got to give this back to someone. Why would you put it at the bottom of a bottle
Right.
of
Why would you
ketchup?
ruin it?
Like, and also imagine returning it to someone that's covered in ketchup.
Here, you're
Like,
welcome.
here you go.
Reward,
Money,
please.
please.
Money, please. Exactly.
Yeah. And so what I didn't mention though is Jabberjaw actually was not participating in this video chat. The humans were really doing this, and Jabberjaw actually was in the kitchen because, as you said, Clamhead is the Shaggy. Jabberjaw is obviously the Scooby, who is pretty much equally, if not more, hungry than Shaggy always is.
Mhm.
And so he's putting together this massive sandwich, and he's just kind of like humming and dancing around the kitchen, throwing this thing together. And of course, he tops it with just a loading heap of ketchup that he just globs right on top. And the microfilm, which, yes, covered in ketchup and was at the bottom of the ketchup bottle, falls right out and lands on the top of the sandwich.
Okay.
And Jabberjaw, he walks out to the others who are in the room, just finishing up their video chat. And they all look at Jabberjaw and see his sandwich with the microfilm just plopped right
Sitting
on
on
top. And
it.
they try to stop him. Clamhead tries to stop him, but he's got this darn stutter. He just like can't talk. And so Jabber is like, dude, while you're trying to get out whatever you're saying, I'm gonna eat this shit. So he
Scarf
throws that
this.
whole sandwich, one bite into his mouth and just swallows it.
You know,
And
it's a
they're
safer
like,
spot.
it is, to his credit, it is. Yeah, no one's gonna get it now.
No,
No one. For
exactly.
I don't know how long. I should have looked it up, but this also seems like a very intricate fact. Like, how long does the
Take to
shark digestive
digest.
process work? How often do they poop? What's it going to look like on the
Yeah.
other side? What are
Do
we working
stomach
with here?
acids of a shark dissolve microfilm?
Microfilm.
Where's the study on
I
that?
I feel like that might get us some CIA dings or something if that pops up in our in our search history,
Right.
in
Does
our
a shark's
browser
stomach
history.
destroy evidence?
Yeah, exactly. Where do I buy a shark? um, so yes, they see Jabberjaw eat this microfilm and they're all like, well, great. Okay, Jabberjaw, you just ate it. And he's like, I did? Oh my God. I didn't even notice. Why did
Oops.
no one tell me that you put it in that bottle of ketchup? Again,
Which,
why would you
true.
put something in a bottle of ketchup?
Yeah,
I blame this on
exactly.
Clamhead. I
Yeah,
mostly
same.
blame this on Clamhead.
For sure.
So Shelly's like, okay, well, great. And this is very mean. Again, just got to spell it out because I really hate Shelly most of the time. But she's like, oh, great. Now the dumb microfilm is in the dumb's dumb stomach.
Wow.
So she says how she really feels about Jabberjaw here. She
Shelly's
hates
gonna be
him.
the first one to quit this band.
Yeah, we'll see. Although she's hungry for the fame though, so I don't know.
True. She's gonna
It's gonna
wait
be
for
hard
everyone
for
else to quit so she can go full Diana Ross post Supremes.
which is her and her tambourine, damn it. Her and her
Uh-huh.
tambourine.
Going solo
So
career.
yeah, we'll see how far she gets. So she probably does, besides Jabberjaw, she probably does have the most star power though. So she might
Yes,
be
for sure.
okay. We'll see. She might go into acting. She'll do some B-list movies or something like that.
Yeah, she's got that energy.
Yeah. So the gang then rushes Jabberjaw to the nearest hospital, which I assume they have one or some sort of medical
Oh,
facility in the Olympic Village, I guess,
not a
so that they
veterinarian
can.
institute. Bring them to the
Damn,
vet.
good point. Yeah, doctor, vet, same thing, right?
Yeah, they're the
Pretty
same
much.
shit.
Yeah, shark, human.
What
What's the
else?
difference? Which apparently the
None.
animators of the show do not know the difference. We'll get to that in a minute. So they rush Jabberjaw to this hospital, and they're trying to stay incognito though, because as the inspector warned them, they're moving targets. Everyone in this criminal organization is looking for them, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. So they do a classic genius 70s cartoon move. They plop a wig, a dress, and some makeup on
Nice,
Jabberjaw, and
nice.
then parade him down the streets towards the hospital.
Okay.
And meanwhile, Robot Man, our evil robot, he's met back up with Maximus and Dr. Chemo, and he's told them that he lost the microfilm to a shark, to which Maximus is pissed because he's like, aren't you supposed to be like the greatest robot ever created? And
Yeah.
you lost it to a shark. But then Robot Man, he tries to like defend himself and he's like, oh, but the shark is the pet of like these four teenagers, though, which I'm like,
You're not
not
helping
really
your
helping
case.
your case.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I followed them into the Olympic Village, but I lost track of them. And so they all hop back into their aqua car or
Mm.
whatever, and they drive over to where Robot Man said he last saw them. And they kind of just sit there for a second, and Maximus is getting all dramatic and stuff like, wow, we're never going to get that microfilm back. Oh my God, Robot Man, you're the worst, whatever, et cetera, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
And like 2 seconds later, they just all turn and look and they see four teenagers walking a great white shark in a
Shark
dress
with
and
a
a
wig.
wig down the streets. They all just like turn their heads at the same time and look out the car and they're like, oh, never mind. So,
Got it.
got it. We found them. Just
Yeah.
kidding. And so, Maximus, so he's pretty wise. And I will say the villains in the show so far have all been like pretty wise in the sense that they're like, we don't want to make a big public scene.
Yeah.
So they just like follow them in the car, kind of like tailing them a little bit as the
Mm.
gang, the Neptunes, are walking to the hospital. And so once they get to the hospital, obviously they get out of their car and they follow them into the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And the gang is in there like checking Jabberjaw and very loudly and not secretly at all, like using his name,
Oh my
giving
God.
all of his information out
Date of
hilariously.
birth.
Shelly's like, yeah, his name's Jabberjaw. He's 10 years old. He weighs 1,600 pounds. He's 15 feet long. I'm like, dude, just like throw his fucking like social
Social in
security
there.
number up there. Why? While you were at it. And so the nurse, she leads Jabberjaw into an operation room. And we
God.
then see two shady, well, because they explained to the nurse what's going on. Like, yeah, he swallowed, that's the other thing. They straight up say, like, he swallowed microfilm with like the secret identity of foreign agents on it. You can probably guess who said that.
God damn it, Bubbles.
Yes. Yes. And so they're like, okay, well, let's take you to an operation room. And then these very, we'll just say shady looking doctors walk in with masks covering their entire faces.
Great.
But also, you know where this is going. I'm just going to say
They're
it.
in togas still.
It's obviously Maximus and Dr. Chemo.
I was like,
They
do they
just
still have their togas on?
no. Thankfully, they're in like full surgical. Oh my God, that would be
Okay.
hilarious.
That's what I was picturing.
No. They put on the full like green scrubs and have like
Mm,
masks on, but it's funny because Dr. Chemo's hair is still like sticking
still
out under.
crazy.
Yeah. But it's hilarious because like they were right on their tails. Like these guys were in the lobby, like listening. They were like hiding behind a bush, like a fake bush in the lobby as they were checking in Jabberjaw. They practically rode the elevator up to the floor of the hospital with the
To the
Neptunes.
OR.
Yeah. And like they followed them directly there. It was so easy for them. Anyways, so the doctors, they're like, oh yeah, so you must be the patient who swallowed the microfilm. Just, spitballing here, but it might be better if we actually perform the surgery in our lab because, we have like specialized assistants and helpers in our lab. So, like, want to leave
Come
this
on.
hospital and come back to our lab.
Never go to a second location. That is like true crime
Also,
101.
and oh my God, just knocked my headphone out. And the fact that they call it a lab, like never get surgery in a lab.
Right, not an operating room.
A
In
lab.
a different location because they have
Yeah.
help there, as if the hospital isn't full of nurses.
And exactly. And it's the fact that like they specifically did not say nurses. Like I don't know if they said helpers. I think they maybe said assistants, but I'm like, okay, there's like a lot of red flags here. A
Is Jabberjaw
lot.
in there himself, or are the Neptunes in there too?
So the whole gang is in there. The whole gang is in there.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
Jabberjaw is like, yes, very good that he has some
Okay.
support here because Jabberjaw is not smart. He's laying on an operating
No.
table and he's like, "Oh, your lab? That's not." He's not. He's like, "That sounds like scary or something, but not like going to the lab sounds scary." He's like, "Oh man, I really messed up. Like I have to go to their lab. What a scary situation I've gotten
Oh
myself in." Like
no.
it's like, oh yeah, let's all right, here we're going to their lab. But meanwhile,
Okay.
Biff and like Clamhead are like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, no.
Okay,
Like,
good.
just do this here. Just do this now.
Good, good.
And they're like, we'll help you. Like, we're good helpers.
Um, I was literally about to say, good, you need medical advocacy. And then it went out the window because then they offered themselves, which, like,
Not the nurses.
not
Honestly,
like,
you go ahead, go
I was
first.
say Biff is like, oh, I've done plenty of roadside surgery from his like drifting days, Tokyo drift days. He was like, no problem.
Do you know how many times I've had to stitch people up? Like, go ahead, cut him open. It'll be easy. This is an easy
Yeah.
one. He's a shark. They like regenerate a little bit, don't they? Kind of.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though.
Maybe.
I got it.
I got it. It doesn't matter. He won't
Whoa,
need to regenerate because it'll be fine.
this scalpel is way too clean. Someone give me a pocket knife.
Yeah, something with a little rust on it.
Maybe a little gas from a little spillage that happened, a little
Hmm.
dirt.
Hmm. It'll help sterilize it just a little bit. Um, and the reason why Biff is going to have to do this, I speculate, is because, yeah, honestly, the nurses are probably like frantic outside. Like it's the Olympics. There's a lot of people in
Yeah.
town, but also a lot of people are in for like broken ankles and like wrists and stuff and toes because a lot of people are reporting being chased down the streets by some giant great white shark that was just asking for directions.
This
It's like
old sweet lady
at
broke her
like
hip.
at between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. this day, we just had a huge influx in breaks and sprains
Attacks.
and trauma. Yeah.
Right, like half the nurses are like wheeling people into like the ER, and the other half are like calling the authorities to report like a wild assailant out
Yeah,
on the
exactly. He's
streets. And
here.
then
Yeah.
the final intake nurse is like trying to get in touch with like the authorities slash FBI to be like, someone came in saying that they have evidence of a terrorist attack in their stomach. Could you send a professional in?
Yeah.
There's like they're being spread so thin. We already have a
Like
nursing shortage.
this is not why we went to nursing school. We've been dealing with the authorities all day. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, the hospital staff, they are strapped. So that is why the gang has to jump in and tell these
Mhm.
already fake doctors. They can't even get real doctors in here.
They just saw
They
someone
gotta
in
help.
scrubs and assumed they were doctors.
Exactly. And so, yes, the doctors are like, fine, doctors are like, fine, fine. We want to get the microfilm out as quickly as you do. So, like, let's go.
Okay,
They
great.
whip out this like camera recording device that's also, it's like I don't want to say it's edible, but it's small enough that Jabberjaw can eat
Oh, like
it.
swallow it. Yeah, I
So,
mean they
yeah,
have
he
cameras that they
swallows
stick
it.
down your throat and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This is like a little, it's just like a ball though. It's not like attached to a thing. So they just
Yeah.
like throw that shit in Jabber's mouth, and he swallows it, and then they whip out this like whole like TV screen and like a remote control, and they can control how the camera goes through him, and they're like watching it on TV. And so we get a remote control view essentially of the insides of Jabberjaw.
It's like an old lady arm.
In a purse. The reservation, the hotel reservations.
Someone from the baggage claim earlier that day.
Yeah. A bunch of suitcases. Like, all types of stuff. But they didn't pack me a snack. I needed to eat something. Which, I mean, it is funny though, because we do see a bunch of stuff like a tire and chains and a radio and like a license plate, etc., etc.
We got to eat someone's car with them in it.
With them in it. Oops. Like, wait, how did that happen? Anyways, whatever.
He's a great white shark.
So it's hilarious because it kind of goes back to something I mentioned earlier that like, yeah, these animators don't know the difference between a shark and a human, because at this point and like at other various points throughout the hospital later in this scene, we see like x-rays and the insides of Jabber, obviously, and he's got like a rib cage, like he's got this whole like he's got like various organs. I mean, I'm obviously sharks have some organs and stuff, but like it looks like a human liver and like I said, a rib cage and like a spinal cord at one point. Like, I don't know.
They were like, it's 1976. We don't have Google images. We'd have to go to the library, get an encyclopedia, call a marine biologist.
We spent all of our budget on the music, so we can't afford a cab or parking to get to the library. So we're just going to have to roll with what we can guess. Yeah, just wing it here. Anyway, so seeing that they're not really finding this microfilm anywhere in Jabberjaw, Shelly like yanks the controller out of the doctor's hand and is like, let me do it, like implying like I know this guy's insides better than anyone. Like
I know how to drive this tiny medical device.
Yeah, I'll find it.
I won't do any internal organ damage. Slamming it around in there. Oh no.
Which is exactly what she does.
Oh no, my.
This thing is flying all throughout Jabberjaw, slamming into organs and like bones that shouldn't be in there in the first place. So maybe these are people he's eaten, and somehow they've just like the bones have like formed into him.
He just swallowed them all.
Like exactly. It's someone that he just swallowed whole like 2 minutes ago. So they're still they haven't like broken down yet. when she started calling the police, he was like, no, they can't over here. And so he just ate her.
Yeah, he was like, trust no one. Yeah. Their name could be on this list. Biff told me not to trust the cops anyways. Oh,
add that to the nurse shortage. This is
right,
like the fourth one Jabber's eaten since they got to the hospital.
Yeah, that's why none of the nurses are going in there or doctors, because they're like, we need a SWAT team. Bring the tranquilizer. There's a man-eating shark in there.
And meanwhile, the human, like the Neptunes, they're fine with it because they're like, yeah, he's not eating us. as long as they eat someone else. These
are the blood sacrifices for our own safety. You know what? Good for them.
Good for them. Love that for them. So yeah, the Shelly does not know how to use this camera.
Makes sense.
She's steering it all throughout Jabberjaw. And even though it's not killing him, but it is tickling him very much. And so he starts like hopping all over the place and making a mess in the operation room. And I guess like the camera thing like shorts out or whatever. So they just turn it off. They're like, yeah, this isn't working. And Shelly just like turns off the TV. And they're like, okay, I guess we can give up. And so at this point, they're like, oh, well, that's it. And so at this point, the teens turn and look over and they see the doctors have taken off their masks and they are now exposing themselves to be Maximus and Dr. Chemo. And thank God for Inspector Neville, who showed them the pictures of these villains. So they're like, "Oh my God, those are
We
the
know
guys that
you.
Inspector Neville showed us." Like,
We're going to kill us.
run!
Hey.
Hey, God, hi!
Well, hi.
I still can't get over that from the first episode. Anyways, so classic animated 70s chase ensues around this hospital where they literally just like wreck this place.
All the nurses see them coming down the hall and they're like wheeling patients into side rooms and slamming the door.
Like locking the door. The
like
SWAT has started
alarms
to
going
arrive.
off. All
The
of the
SWAT
lights
has
have
started
gone.
to arrive, but they like see Jabber at full force, like swimming down this hallway and just like disperse.
Like protect the patients first.
Yeah. So yeah, this chase is going on. Hospital's getting wrecked. Like they're just going in and out of all sorts of rooms, like knocking shit over,
Oh my God.
fucking with the elevators, like probably breaking the elevators. Hopefully there's
Absolutely.
not, yeah, hopefully no one, in a wheelchair needs one of those anytime soon in this hospital. And
Right, nurses are having to like carry people down the stairs to like get them out the back door to safety. And it's like an
you see like,
international crisis because people from all over the world are here right now
yeah,
for the
the
Olympics.
sirens are still going off. They're like dodging SWAT agents, like running up the stairs as they're carrying this old patient down the stairs.
And yeah,
Like,
SWAT
I'm
agents
5 days away from retirement.
Oh, no.
So close.
Oh no.
But yeah, this chase, it eventually ends. The kids are able to get away from these villains. I think they like trap them on an elevator and send them up while they have been run off and then go down. So, classic whatever mix up. And apparently this chase was really drawn out because as soon as they leave the hospital and get away from, Maximus and all of them, they're like, "Oh my God, we have to go meet Inspector Neville. Like, guess we're just gonna have to like cut you open right in front of him, Jabberjaw, and get this microfilm out since we never got it out." So they just like run over to the pier again, very loudly, not at all sneaking around. And they meet up with Inspector Neville, and he asks for the microfilm, obviously. And Clamhead is the bearer of bad news. Like, "Look, Inspector, how much time do you have?"
Look, you said a safe place.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe.
Like, we can get this thing back to you. It's very safe now. Like, we can get this thing back to you. And like, how long do you think, Jabber? How long is it going to take?
You drink some coffee, get some prunes.
Yeah. Like, spoon him some laxatives. Like, here, Jabber, open up. And Inspector Neville is like, "Well, you know what? No. Just hold on to it, please. But it is still possible for you guys to help me catch Maximus and Dr. Chemo and Mr. Z." But he warns them that the mission will be dangerous. So Jabberjaw's like, "Hell yes, danger. It's my middle name. Let's go. Tell me what I got to do." And Inspector Neville is like, "Okay, all you have to do is enter into the underwater obstacle race, because the only thing that can possibly beat Robot Man at this competition is a great white shark." Exactly. And so he's like, "If you can win the race, then you'll be able to make contact with Mr. Z, and then we can either, trick him and arrest him, or like neutralize him, aka
Eat him.
kill him." So Neville is like, "All right, Jabber, just win by any means possible. We'll arrest this guy. Go on, do your thing." And he's like calling him like secret agent Jabber and stuff like that, which obviously exactly is going to Jabber's head quite a bit. And so
I have a few quick comments and questions. One, under what country is everyone entering the Olympics? Both this robot and Jabberjaw. Who is their representation?
Do you want to Here's what I suggest you do. Answer all your questions, and then I'm going to give like a paragraph response because I don't know if I want to answer them in the right order.
Okay. Well,
Okay. What country, or are these rhetorical?
no, that one I would love an answer for. The next one
Okay.
is less of a question, not a question at all, more of a comment that I imagine this pier scene. The inspector has, like his radio on him the whole time, and we just hear hospital, all windows secure, 1,600 pounds, 15 foot, name Jabberjaw, out, backup generator gone on. Like they hear the raid going on in the hospital, and the inspector loves the Neptune so much that he just turns it off.
I can't listen.
Yeah, he's like,
listen.
Don't worry about that, guys. You're the only ones I want to hear on the radio. I mean, welcome, Secret Agent Jabber.
Welcome. Thank you for your help, Agent Jabber.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the
This horrible Australian accent. Anyways, okay. So, any other questions? Okay,
no, I mean, yes, but no.
So here's the thing about these Olympics, which we're going to see in just a minute. I don't think anyone belongs to a country.
Okay.
Something horrible must have happened on planet Earth.
Again, that nuclear war that happened. They still have cities and governments, but
right, but like nations don't really exist. Although I think they call Australia a country in this, but like
it's to each
you don't see
their own.
flags anywhere. To each their own. It's
okay.
I don't know, when you were in grade school, if you had like a field day.
Yeah.
Or it was almost like Spirit Week when we were in high school, where there's just like various events and like, yeah, you can win some of them, but it's like the same person can compete in multiple events where like, it's not like you go there to be a track star. It's like you're going there to like, oh, I got to win everything. Like I'm going to win the high hurdles. I'm going to win and first of all, remember the grand event of this whole thing is the underwater obstacle course.
Okay.
That's not a sport.
That was when you first said that, I was like, what is that? But I was like, she'll explain it later, probably.
No, it's that. I mean, I guess I will a little bit in just a second, but yeah, so these Olympics don't make sense, like from the jump. So you ask what country they're representing. None. Quite frankly, I don't even know how they were able to get in. Like you get in the Olympics by trial. So also that's apparently not how these ones work. You sign up to be in these Olympics. You don't like compete in lower tournaments to qualify. Yeah, exactly.
There's some kids.
It's like thinking that doing that qualifies you for the New York Marathon. You like show up at the New York Marathon like asking for your big bib number. And they're like, we don't see you on the list. Like, but I did the turkey trot. Yeah.
I did the 5K.
Yeah. Good. Exactly. So I think that's probably where they got their inspiration for the Olympics in the year 2076. They're like, we got to get more people involved. We need more global unity after the event that happened. Whatever the fuck. Just fuck it. You did the turkey trot.
Let them in.
You're in the Olympics.
Come on in. Or I guess for Jabberjaw, they're like, yes, you can sign up, great white shark who's standing over me.
Please don't eat me.
Yeah. Here's your bib.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. So naturally, the gang, after learning that Jabberjaw is now going to compete in the Olympics, particularly in the biggest event in the Olympics, but whatever, in the Olympics in general, they do what one would, or what a group would normally do, in the days leading up to a big sporting event, especially at like the highest level of sports in the world. They play their gig at the Olympic Village.
Biff is like, we haven't actually paid for a hotel yet. We got to somehow we didn't get a reward for this stupid ass microfilm. Is there only other way?
Yeah, they're like, so guys, I only actually was able to afford the first night in the hotel
Now
because I was thinking
that we're
that
staying
after the
longer.
gig we would get paid enough to stay another day or two. So we can't miss this gig.
Gig. And they also are like, look, Jabberjaw, what they were looking for in the hospital was a shark with a wig on. But now at the gig, you don't have a wig on. So they're not gonna know it was you. We can be in public. It's fine. We're not being looked after by some super villains.
I should have mentioned that pretty quickly on after putting like the wig fell off shortly after they put it on.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
figured, but
so
you
they
know.
so they really just saw Jabberjaw in a dress with lipstick.
Good, 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 good.
And it's funny that you say that because while they're playing this gig, which also props to them and props to Biff for landing this gig, it's like in a massive arena with a packed crowd and like it's
I
huge.
mean,
It's
again, they were a big band,
they're big,
we
which again
think.
confirms too that the inspector is obsessed. The inspector is like front row.
Okay, we see his radio is turned off
Sorry.
still, where it's like, we still have not apprehended. We've searched every nook and cranny of this hospital. Some of the ventilators are going out, the generator's failing.
Turns that thing off.
Yeah.
He has on like a Jabberjaw hat or something, or like he's like in a costume.
Like a full sparkly, like shark head. He's got a sign.
But unfortunately, I don't think he's in the front row because who we do see in the front row instead are Maximus, Dr. Chemo, and Robot Man, literally sitting right
Okay.
up front, just like staring right at the band. And this
That's
actually freaks
terrifying.
all of them out. It is terrifying
Right.
because they're like, shit, they see us, they know we're here. And so, literally, mid song, mid set, they just like stop playing and run on stage. Biff is probably pissed, but like
Yeah.
this is a calculated decision. He's like, we could
Yeah.
get killed right now, or like we could maybe like we'll just say we all got sick and maybe like we'll still get paid for like the two songs we already played. I don't know.
After, like, we've mentioned that they can never keep like a booking agent because Jabberjaw eats them all, that like Biff always has to do it. And he kind of fucks it up most of the time, but Biff's read enough contracts to know that they can get half pay for half a show
Exactly.
play.
Half performance. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's partial performance. They partially performed on the contract. So they'll, you know.
Yeah. So he's like, that's good enough. You can get us
Yeah.
half a night more.
Right. We'll just give whatever they think. You'll get half a night more. They have to
We'll
check
take it.
out. They have to check out at like 3 in the morning.
It's like, say no more, worth it. It's
Like,
that rock and
hey,
roll
we can
lifestyle, baby.
exactly, exactly. They like hitchhike to the bus station.
Biff's like, half pay will get us a bus to get out of here. We don't need our hotel.
Oh man, this poor band. They're down and out. Um, So yeah, they run off stage halfway through their set, but like Dr. Chemo and all of them just get up and run after them. So like no, everyone in the audience sees this. No one questions it. They just see these super villains like get up and run after them
Chasing
on
her.
stage. But then it like switches. I don't know. I guess it goes to like the next day where the Olympic ceremony is actually kicking off. It's hard to
Okay.
keep track of this whole episode, like the
Yeah.
timeline. I don't know how long they've been here. The Olympics usually go on for almost a month, right? It's like 2.5,
Yeah.
3 weeks or something like that. I don't know. Have they already started? Is this the opening ceremony? We don't
We don't
know, quite
know.
frankly. So, the events though, they kick off. Like we see, and somehow Jabber and Clamhead, like we see them, they're all able to get on the field, right? This is like the
Mm,
track and field sort of events. They're just standing there watching, like, wow, this is
right.
great, guys. I guess because they're competing in a later event in
Yes,
the
they got
underwater
the bib.
competition,
Yeah.
they get floor access, right? But just as they think everything's awesome, things are going fine, they see, of course, Maximus, Dr. Chemo, and Robot Man also just like walk out onto the field and like
I mean, they're part of
take
the
note of
event
them.
too.
Exactly. Like, well, damn, we thought we escaped them. I guess Robot Man is competing too. That's right. So at this point, Jabber and Clamhead, they're scared. So they start running as soon as they see all these villains on the field. And as I said, these are the track and field events that are starting. And the first race is the high hurdle. So Jabber and Clamhead just run in the race. They just run the high hurdles and they win. Jabberhead wins, which I would be
oh my god
if I were one of the other athletes.
yeah,
By the way, like, he's not even entered, but he wins. And they're like, okay, well, he's not going to go to the announcer is like, okay, well, he's running so fast so that he's not stopping for his medal. He's actually running into the next race. So like they fully acknowledge him as a member of this race and as the winner.
also like if he would have gotten his medal, they could have stopped the entire plot right then.
True. Well, no,
Presumably.
because that's not the race. Because Dr. Z or
Is
Mr. Z
only
is
giving the medal for that one.
only for that race.
Oh
It
wow, they
has to be
hired
the
medal
underwater,
handlers per event.
I suppose, and they don't do background screenings on them at all.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, per event. Yeah, it's busy work. It's busy work. You know, you gotta
There's a lot of
be
events going
at your
on.
exactly. So yes, they run directly out of the high hurdles race and into the next event, which again, these Olympics make no sense whatsoever. And the next event is the freaking toboggans grace.
Yes, absolutely.
So they hop on a toboggan.
Perfect
And of course,
summer
Robot
event.
Man, perfect for summer underwater Olympics. Underwater, yes. And yeah, Robot Man, he's still following them. So he also hops in a toboggan and they're racing on this course and he catches up with them. And eventually Jabber and Clamhead, they like crash their toboggan off of the course and they're able to run away. But they run to an ice skating rink because the next event is, you guessed it, ice skating.
Mm-hmm.
And so they run into the locker room and put on some ice skates, and Jabber also puts on a nice tutu.
Spins.
No, no. Jabber actually looks really weird in this scene, if I remember. The tutu's like around his waist, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's got skates on, but like his tail fins are his feet.
Yeah,
for like his legs and his feet. So he just looks really weird because his legs are like so little, but then the rest of his body is so long.
Yeah, the like center of gravity there would not actually work out
it
at
wouldn't
all.
work. It wouldn't work. And maybe that's why the audience is cheering even more, because somehow him and Clamhead are actually doing a really good job. They're like
figure
dancing
skating
as a couple. Yeah, they're figure skating. And the audience is loving it. But then Robot Man appears.
Just picturing like Blades of Glory. Like that film.
There is less pizzazz, I will say. It's pretty basic moves they're doing here, but like Jabber and Clamhead walked so that Blades of Glory could run,
could skate.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So Robot Man, of course, though, he sees them, he follows them to the ice rink and onto the ice rink, and he's chasing them around. And Clamhead and Jabber decide to do one of their like classic moves where they twirl Jabber around to like tornado him. I don't know, towards the robot, whatever. But the twirling move like cuts a hole through the ice and then like ruins the ice skating rink and the event for everyone else. And so then the audience like starts booing at Jabber.
Good. Honestly, good.
Yeah,
correct.
It is good.
I'd be pissed.
Yes, correct. And now like it gives Robot Man a chance to go and like regroup and stuff, because again, like I said before, Maximus and Dr. Chemo were like, okay, no, too much attention, like back down.
Yeah.
We got to stay in the shadows a little bit. So then like Robot Man runs away and the three of them like regroup. And also because up next is the main event, the underwater Olympics. And of course, Robot Man is competing. So he's like, fuck, gotta get out of here. Gotta get to the starting line.
Get some electrolytes.
Exactly. And so Jabber, also competing in this competition, he runs over and joins at the starting line, knowing that he still has to win by any means necessary to keep Mr. Z from making contact with Robot Man and our other villains, our other baddies.
Mm-hmm.
So all the competitors, they're taking their places and they dive on in, getting this grand event of the Olympics, this underwater obstacle course at the underwater Olympics started, which also, what would that be like? You're already underwater. I'm guessing you're living in one of these domes. Australia is under one of these domes, but they have an underwater event. Like, do they?
Oh, they don't go into the
Send
open
you out
ocean for it?
Well, they do, but well, no, it's weird. I mean, they're in the ocean, but it's not like you see them like on a beach or something, like a beach in the background. They're not like up at the top. They're so it's underwater, but it's
right.
like
So it's like redundant. Like everything's under the water.
That's exactly what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, it's not, I sound like an idiot describing it because it doesn't make sense because,
no, I get
it's
it
redundant.
now. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, it's overly redundant.
So in other words, it's an obstacle course. It's just an obstacle course.
It's just a normal obstacle course for this world.
Yes, for this world.
And
but it's also concerning because, so our focus is mostly on the robot and Jabberjaw, right? And we're like, okay, yeah, sure. The robots don't breathe. I guess this one doesn't have to worry about rusting or like water fucking up its systems. And Jabberjaw's a shark. So like, cool, they're underwater. There are humans in this competition. They just like free dive into this.
They're not in their free dive.
No. Okay. They're not like they jump in and they're swim.
That would be way more impressive to watch. The humans free diving. I understand now why this would be the biggest event of just like an obstacle course, but like
it's like fucking Harry Potter. It's like fucking Goblet of Fire type shit, right? Like,
but like a shark and a robot, I'm not impressed. Cool. And again, how did you guys enter as non-humans?
Exactly. Like these other competitors probably don't even know that the robot and the shark are in this race because they're like, yeah, we've been studying our competition. They're nowhere on this list. Like, I don't know who you are. They're probably terrified seeing both of them, but especially Jabber in the water swimming by them.
They're like, is that part of, was this one of the obstacles that we will be chased by a great white shark? Okay,
I did not read that in the rules. Yeah. So anyway, concerning that like these humans are also here underwater, like, but yes, also would be way more exciting to see. So anyways, it doesn't matter though. We don't see it because this robot and this great white shark pull ahead of the rest of the racers in literally like 1 second.
Literally one flap of Jabberjaw's tail. And he's like gone.
The second, like you see all of these people in Jabberjaw and the robot dive in, and like the very next like clip is just like them like taking off, and the rest of the people just like normal speed,
holding their breath,
trying like already dying, probably. Yeah.
Oh no.
So Jabber, obviously being a shark, he starts to pull away from Robot Man. But Robot Man, again, he knows he's got to win by any means necessary. So he just like finds a rope that's connected to an anchor and like lassos Jabber's tail.
Oh, damn.
Like, pulls him back. And this is on TV, by the way, like all of this very televised event, like all of this could be viewed not just by the audience on a jumbotron in the stadium, but I assume all over the world. So like he's clearly cheating in the open.
I mean, I guess he's already a robot, so he's like, I already am cheating by being in this cheating race.
As is Jabber being a shark. Like,
and like no one stopped us yet. So
we might as well lean into it. Yeah. But Jabber, he's able to cut himself free from this lasso, and then he speeds back into the race, where the next portion consists of the pipe obstacle, which literally just looks like the freaking, like the tubes in like a hamster cage or something. Of course,
your episode has a hamster or a freaking gerbil in it.
I'm going to try to make the reference anytime possible.
It's been so long.
It's been so many times. You can probably put a compilation together. Yeah, and it has been a long time.
Hamster
Yeah.
talk with Alexis.
Yeah. This is my hamster talk. Thank you. I'm gonna get that trademark. Um, so yeah, in this hamster gerbil type of obstacle portion of the race, the robot man just takes one of these tubes and like redirects it in another
Habitrail.
direction.
That's what it's called.
Habit trail. Thank you. How could I forget? Oh my God. Again, I'm rusty. It's been a while.
Has been
I
a
won't
while.
forget again. And so yeah, so then this confuses Jabberjaw though. He's like, oh, I just gotta follow the little tube. And he gets lost because it's been redirected. Again, all of this is showing up on the Jumbotron, and the announcers are like play calling it. So when he says, like, oh no, the shark's going the wrong way, after seeing that the robot cheated and moved the way that he was going, Shelly responds like, oh, that dumb dumb. Sorry. I have to just anytime Shelly says something really mean, I have to throw it in my script because I just have to prove how terrible she is of a person, even though she does get a lot of shit from Jabberjaw too.
But like in that moment,
But
he's
it's
really
obvious
taking
in
it
this
for the
moment.
team.
Exactly. And it's clear you all just saw this robot cheat and you're calling Jabberjaw the dumb dumb for not knowing. Anyway, whatever. So at this point, though, Jabberjaw, he realizes that he was tricked. And so he's like super pissed off. He knows that the robot now is like just out to get him. Well, he knew before, but now he's like, all right, this dude, I'm done with his antics. He's like super cheating and like, I'm not messing with this. I'm not messing around with this anymore. So he swims back into the race at absolute full speed and just like flies past the robot man.
Hell
to which
yeah.
I'm like, why weren't you just doing that the whole time? You could have finished this race like 5 hours ago.
Yes. Also, I'm like, why didn't you just bust out of the Habitrail? You're a great white shark. Just ram it.
Also that. Also
Get
true.
out. Yeah.
How did you even fit in the Habitrail? This was like made for humans, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he flies past Robot Man and he's like he wins the race. Simple as that. And I guess since it's like the easy done. And I guess so since he won the high hurdles too, and this is like the biggest event of the Olympics here, he essentially won the 2076 underwater Olympics, as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
all right.
Why not? There don't appear to be rules to this thing anyway. So
also, I'm just now thinking, like, even if the robot had won, is there not a second place medal, or is that given by a different, like there's a individual medal giver for each medal, not just each event?
That's how I assume this is happening.
Okay.
Each event has a medal giver for each medal.
Each medal. It's like thousands of people who've been employed. This is how Australia's economy is booming. Literally. Everyone has a job.
Literally. Yeah, everyone. It's like, get in on these Olympics, man. It's good for you.
Cool.
So at this point, the gang and the inspector, they're like keeping their eyes out for Mr. Z while Jabber is making his way to the podium to get his gold medal. And of course, the man carrying the gold medal, he congratulates Jabber as the secret agent. And he places the medal around his neck. And he's like, that shark costume is an excellent disguise.
Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, sure. Excellent disguise and I guess excellent way. Like this person was really trying to get in the mindset to win. Okay, this is a winning mentality. They're like, if I dress as a great white shark, there's no way I'll fail.
A great white shark.
Yes. A method athlete.
A method secret agent.
Yes. And so this guy, he tells Jabber that he is indeed Mr. Z. And he asks Jabber to hand over the microfilm. And Jabber's excited. He's like, fuck yeah, we got you. We got you. This is Mr. Z. And so he grabs him and is like yelling like for Inspector Neville and the gang to come over. Again, not at all quiet or sneaky. And obviously giving away that he is not the secret agent that Mr. Z thought he was. So Mr. Z is able to like sneak out of his arms and like get away before the police and the gang catch up to Jabberjaw.
Damn it.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Maximus, Dr. Chemo, and Robot Man, they see this going down and they're like, fuck, we're out. Let's go. So they also make a run for it, seeing that this entire plan failed. So I know you had hope at the beginning, but no, it's failed. This was never going to work anyways, but in this universe, it was never destined to happen.
Yep.
Yep. So those three, though, they then group up with Mr. Z and they all hop in a boat together.
They
That's
couldn't just do that before.
like they could have met him so many other places. I guess again, Mr. Z couldn't get off of work, right? He
But
couldn't
now
get
that
off of
he's
work. He had to
like,
be there.
well, clearly I'm being fired now. After
Exactly. Like, was it
that.
worth it? Was it worth
Yeah.
it? They could have met you like at the door, at the exit,
At
as
your
soon as
lunch
you got off
break.
of your shift, on your
Yeah.
lunch break, at your apartment, as soon as you got home, like
Yeah.
anything. It could have worked. It could have worked, but they didn't want it to, I guess. So they hop into this boat that's like still in the arena, by the way, because again, like you dive in from the arena and I guess swim under and then out of the dome. I guess that's how the obstacle course works.
You know
So
what?
like
Anything
there's a
you
boat,
say, fine.
believe it. All right, you'll see
Uh-huh.
when you see it, you'll understand kind of. I still don't really understand and I watched this episode a few times. So this boat though is in the arena in a body of water that is at the middle of the stadium or whatever. And so they hop in the
Mm,
boat thinking that they
naturally.
can leave even though they're still in a dome, but they
Okay.
try to boat away. I don't and
Okay, I see.
Jabberjaw is like, interesting. Indeed. Indeed.
Shallow and pedantic. Hmm.
Indeed.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
so Jabberjaw's like, no, 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 not on my watch. So he jumps in the water after them and it like
Terrifying.
sends, it would be terrifying. And it is because it sends like a massive wave over their boat and
Mm.
they, crash. It like flips over and capsizes. And then Jabberjaw is able to like circle around them and pretty much just like the authorities move in and arrest them. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I imagine, sorry, real quick, let me say, I imagine that all of this is happening. So because Robot Man and Jabberjaw are so fast, I imagine all of this is happening as the rest of the competitors are like just now getting out of the water and like finishing unaware and seeing just like all this chaos and like terrorists
People
running around.
screaming.
And
The
they're just
SWAT
like,
team coming in.
exactly. Like just now realizing that Jabber and this robot both absolutely like cooked them in the race and like absolutely cheated though and shouldn't have even been qualified. And these people are like on death's bed after like free diving this underwater
For like
obstacle
10,
course.
15 minutes for the course. One of them has trained their whole lives and he's popping out of the water like, I did it.
Terrorists running around, Jabber wearing the gold medal.
Flying behind him. Jabberjaw's like ripping off the metal because it's giving him too much drag. It conks the person out and they fall back into the water.
You see like the ship like capsizing and everything, people like splashing and a great white shark like circling. Like you said, helicopters and like the SWAT moving
So
in.
warming
Yeah. Oh my God. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically how the episode ends. Like, for the most part, like
in.
the four villains all get arrested. And
Great.
outside of the police station, the media is going crazy over Jabberjaw, the hero,
Of
and everything, and
course.
how much he saved the day. Who cares about the Olympics, anyways? That's a stale story. Jabberjaw's the star of the day. And the inspector, he's super pleased with the kids' work, but wishes that at the end of the day, they still could have gotten the microfilm. It's still in Jabberjaw, I guess. And so Clamhead walks up to Jabberjaw,
Oh no.
reaches in his mouth, and is like, "Hey, Jabber, your filling is loose."
Oh
And
my
he
God.
pulls the filling out, which I'm like, "What the fuck, Clamhead?" You'll
You
just
know
pull
what?
someone's filling out, let alone a shark's.
We've come up with backstories for a couple of these characters. And while I said like Biff had done, a lot of like roadside surgeries, is Clamhead's backstory like an illegal surgeon, like a black market
Like
surgeon?
an organ salesperson or something.
Yeah, clearly
Like
he's done
opens his coat in
work.
an alley. Yeah.
He's clearly done work on Jabberjaw multiple times, including his
Oh yeah.
dentistry, and is clearly doing it in the jankiest way possible. So like that's how they found him originally, even for the band. It was like he was
Oh my
opting to do
God.
surgery on one of them and like happened to he warms up his fingers to do surgery by playing the bass, and they were like, "You're pretty good at that."
Huh.
That's Clayhead's
You ever think
backstory.
Biff's like, did you know I play the guitar?
And they're like, "Wait a second, what?"
Huh. Interesting. And Clamhead's like, my pet shark plays the drums. Can we
Clamhead's like, "Yeah, I use my guitar strings all the time for stitches."
stitches? Yeah.
Like sew people up.
Can we now add to our wild speculation the way that each member of the Neptunes, like their background that led them to this life is like secret agents moonlighting as a famous band, essentially. Like we already did Biff. He was essentially like a Fast and Furious style, like undercover smuggler and like race driver. Clamhead was actually like the secret surgeon for the mob. It's like how they usually have like a vet on call or something. They
Yes,
have like
for
a
the
vet
mob
on call to
100%.
deal.
And Clamhead knows how to make it look like a surgery gone wrong.
God. Or he knows how to get you out of a tight situation, like by any means necessary. He's like, well, I did this surgery on a horse one time. You're only
I can
like
probably do it on this.
153 to 300 pounds lighter.
You know how Clamhead is like, I mean, he's got like a couple like wow, wow catchphrases, but like overall, he's like kind of
He doesn't really have a
calm.
personality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's kind of just there. And it's because he's used to like, being in like the mob, like back rooms, just reading a book or something. And then all of a sudden the door getting kicked down, like seven mobsters carrying like one of their like colleagues' bodies who's just been shot 16 times, like wiping off the table of like, whatever Clamhead was in the middle of doing and slamming him down on the table.
Clamhead just stands up and like immediately rolls up his sleeves, like loosens it, like turns his tie around, takes his tie off, and uses that as a tourniquet. He's like, all right, what happened today, guys? Where were you? You don't need to know where we were. All you need to know is what kind of gun it was.
All you need to know is give us the bullets as you remove them.
Yeah. We got to
gotta
write
stage
names
the
on
scene
them.
elsewhere. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
That's
Clamhead.
Clamhead's background. So all of this is to say, by the way, that's like the end of the episode. He thinks it's a filling. It's actually the
It's
microfilm. He gives it to the authorities. They say Olympics over.
Yay.
That's it. That's the end. Yeah. So all right, we've got the wild speculation for Clamhead and Biff down. We'll get to the others in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, we did already talk about Bubbles perhaps being like from a wealthy family. So maybe her parents were like arts dealers or something, which is obviously like commonly used for like money laundering and stuff like that. So they easily got caught up. She was kidnapped by one of Biff's associates and a deal gone wrong.
Well, what happened?
Now they can't get rid of her.
They thought that they were going to be able to get like a bunch of ransom because her family was so rich, but it turned out the family was like, thank God. We've been trying to get rid of her. No, we don't care enough about her. And so it was like, yeah, just like one of these associates got like the wrong information that they thought like, oh
They
yeah,
got the wrong
any of the
kid.
daughters of this rich family, there are two. Make sure we get one. And it was like, this was the one the family didn't want.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you can keep her.
Yeah. And that's why they're also, again, always hard on money, is because the family's not giving her any cash anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good.
cool. Nice. But anyway, that's the end. Maybe
Well,
we'll get to
great
Shelly in
job.
the future. That'll be a future episode. Thank you. Sorry, it was a
Yeah.
long one. They all
No,
are. I think all of our Jabberjaw episodes are going to be long because
I
it's
agree.
hard to explain what's going on, and we just get
Yes.
sidetracked by the ridiculousness of what is
Exactly.
going on. So
Yeah, we
thank
can't
you for
help it.
sticking with us.
Great
Yeah.
work. Great job.
Thank you.
Wow. Truly bonkers
But
as usual.
yes, but I'm excited to hear your probably equally as truly bonkers episode next week.
Oh, yes.
And then a little reminder to those listening and watching that after next week, we're doing a little special episode.
Yes, we are.
You know, enjoy these, the next episode of Jabberjaw. And then we're going to take a break from that just for a week. And then we'll hop back on board with our regularly scheduled programming. But until then, of Jabberjaw, exactly, not of whatever other arc we're going to be doing after that. That's for another day. So until then, though, Grace, who should they tell about this podcast/podcast?
I think you should tell your favorite Olympian. Let them know on, reach out to to them on whatever social media. Simone Biles, Shaun White, Michelle Kwan. Who else? Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps, yeah.
These are the only Olympians I know off the top of my head.
You said Simone Biles already. Damn it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's one. No. Gabby Douglas.
Someone, oh no.
Yeah, no. I was going to say Yoko Ono. That's not right.
She's not an Olympian.
No, not even close. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, there are people out there who are like obsessed. I actually used to be really obsessed with the Olympics when we were in junior high and high school. And I don't even think I watched them when they were in the last ones. I guess they were postponed to COVID, but I don't think I watched a single part of them. Actually, that was probably the first time ever. Just crazy.
Yeah, I do love watching.
But they're in Paris this summer. So yeah, I think I will watch them this year. Great. I'll try. We'll see. But anyway, so you should tell whatever the officiating entity or arm of the Olympics is, whoever trains the referees and the medal distributors and does the doping testing and all of that.
That's what I was
tell
about
people
to say.
Affiliated with them because this episode honestly made them look like bums and chumps.
I was about to say this episode was an insult. It's like an international organization that runs the Olympics.
Yeah, I know. I imagine that they're all just flying around in an office that's on fire, not knowing what they're doing based on this episode of Jabberjaw. Yeah. So try to clear up the rep with them and let them know that this episode is pretty much defaming them as far as I'm concerned. It's my legal opinion. So
yes. Yeah. Perfect. Your unofficial, not legal opinion at all.
Exactly. Yes. It's not legal advice. It's just my personal legal opinion that no one can pay for. So,
perfect. Great.
Anyways.
Well, we'll see y'all next week then.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.